Welcome back, everybody. We are continuing with the post-trip analysis. This is, I think, the fourth video. Maybe, I don't know. But we moved to Bermuda. So, we had 3 days at sea. And the weather, while we were at sea, kind of crappy, kind of cloudy. We did go on a cruise in October, and hurricane season in North America is usually from June all the way to November. So we really shouldn't be surprised that we had some crappy weather and some rough waters and stuff. And the waters weren't really that rough, but you could definitely feel them going up and down and left and right. We never had any issues where people were falling over unless they were drunk. Nothing fell off the tables, nothing quite that bad, not even close. Also, I'm sorry, but I'm eating while doing this video. So 3 days at sea. We get to Bermuda probably somewhere in the middle of the night. Wake up, totally calm seas. We can no longer feel the boat rocking while we're sleeping, which was kind of nice. I kind of like that motion. But wake up to beautiful, crystal clear blue water. Gorgeous. We get out there, it's still a little cloudy, and we walk around a little bit, and we're at the main port where the cruise ship docks, I guess that's the word. So that's where all the touristy stuff is. Lots of little shops. There was a museum right when we got there, and it was actually Bermuda is actually a united territory of the UK. So that was interesting to me. And it turns out Bermuda was like a slave island, like a hardcore slave island. Nuts. I felt bad just being there. But at one point, the population of the island, the entire population of the island, half of it were slaves. And these slaves were unique in that they, a lot of them were sailors, so they knew how to navigate the waters of Bermuda very well. So they had these really important skills. So that was just a cool thing about the history. You don't think of that. I didn't think of that, but I'm ignorant AF, I guess. When you think of the skills that slaves had, and based on the regions they were in or whatever. So we go and check out this fort. We were in the commissioner's house, which was pretty cool, like a 3 or 4 story house. I only stayed on the first story because I was reading some of the history they had in there. But had little on the fort, all over the land, they had like cannons, these giant cannons, and then they had cells, and then they had what else did they have? I'm drawing a blank here. It was really cool though, seeing all this, because it was basically part of the island that they used to defend the rest of the island when ships would come. And there was a lot of navigation problems for the ships coming in. There was a lot of fog, and that's why there's so many shipwrecks over there. I know this is kind of bouncing all over the place, sorry, and probably grossly inaccurate, but what are you going to do? So we walked around for a while, checked out this museum, and then kept walking around the pier and stuff. They have a bunch of little shops. We ended up, the kids really wanted to go swimming, so we ended up going back to the boat. The boat actually stayed at Bermuda for 3 days, which was cool. So we could come and go as we pleased. We didn't have to be on the boat on day 1 and day 2. We didn't have to be on the boat by any particular time. If we wanted to stay out in Bermuda at 2 o'clock in the morning, we totally could have. We didn't, but we could have. So we go back to the boat. We grab some lunch. We change into our swim trunks, and we go back to the island and do some snorkeling. The particular beach we were at, the snorkeling wasn't phenomenal. It was fun. The water was nice. The temperature wasn't bad at all. Water temperature or air temperature. Got to see an eel, which was really neat. This like nuclear green eel. Got to see a fish that I don't know what it's called, but very colorful, very pretty good sized fish. And they come in a bunch of different colors. These, you've seen them in a dark blue, you've seen them in a pink and a green and iridescent and stuff. And they've got these, it looks like they've got big lips up front and teeth that stick out, and they feed on the algae. So very important to the reef. And there was a coral reef out there where we were at. Saw a few of those. Saw some pretty good sized white translucent fish. That was neat. So the next day we took a cab to the Crystal Caverns. Our cab driver was David. I got his information, so if we ever go back to Bermuda, he can drive us around. Really, really nice guy. So we went to the Crystal Caverns, and I don't know if this is anything like Carlsbad Caverns because I've never been there, but really, really cool. I guess the history was there were these two kids that lost their ball. They go down into this cave looking for their ball, and it turns out it's filled with water, and they see all these stalactites coming from the ceiling, stalagmites up from the floor, and this unbelievably crystal clear water. Ridiculously clear water. So clear that it's kind of an optical illusion, because it looks like it might be 8 or 10 feet deep. In all actuality, it's actually 35 feet deep, and in some parts of it even deeper. So these kids go looking for their ball. They discover this cave, and they go out, they leave the cave, they go get some rope and a lantern, and then they go back in the cave. And I guess they spent like 2 hours trying to navigate through this cave, just trying to explore it. They never found their ball. 2 hours. And if they didn't, without the lantern, this was like super duper pitch black. Absolutely pitch black. So they just they're in there with their adorable little lantern. How many years ago? I don't know. Long time ago. Early 1900s maybe? That's kind of ringing a bell, but I'm probably wrong again. Please give me a break on the accuracies/inaccuracies. So we checked out the caves. That was really cool. The next day, what did we do the next day? We came back on the island. This was the last day on the island. It was a short day. We had to be back on the boat by, I think, 2 o'clock. And so the ferries that we were riding on were very specific in their times. And in order for us to catch the right ferry, we had to be back to the ferry by like 12 or 12:30. I don't know. So the plan was, I wanted to go see a fire station out in Bermuda so that I could do some trading of coins and patches and shirts if they had anything, or if they were willing. Well, we got the same cabbie. His name was David, and he just happened to be there. So I said, "Hey, David, how's it going?" And he was very pleasant, and he said, "I was wondering if I was going to get to see you guys again." And I said, "Okay, well, we'd like to do this. How much to do this?" And he was like, "Oh, we'll do it for $15." Okay, cool. Well, he ended up giving us a tour. He was like our private cabbie for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. So he was awesome. So we ended up paying him more than that, but really cool guy. So he takes us over to this airport fire station. Well, we get there, and it's in like this, I don't know, business area that appears abandoned. So he takes us up to the fire station, rings the doorbell, and we're kind of waiting for a while. And this is actually near it's at the airport that the United States built, I guess. But he's ringing the doorbell, and nobody's answering. We wait a few minutes, and finally somebody comes. And he tells him what's going on. "Hey, this is a gentleman from the United States. He'd like to check out the fire station. He's a firefighter from blah, 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 blah." And the officer who answered the door, he's just like, "Oh, okay." Because I guess they have 3 fire stations on the island. And one of them was Hamilton. It was on the Hamilton portion of the island. That's not where we were. We were at St. George's. Well, St. George's fire station is on an airport, which means increased security. And I have no access to that. So finally I get inside. The cabbie, David, he says, "All right, well, I've got your wife and kids. I'm going to go take them over to this other beach." I'm like, okay. And the intent was that I was going to get a tour of this fire station. Well, they take off, and within 5 minutes, I'm in this station, and the station officer, who's actually a training officer, says, "I can't give you a tour. It's security. There's security issues." And I said, "Okay, I completely understand. Does anybody here have anything to trade?" And And he says, no, we don't. You'd have to go to the Hamilton station because that's where our store is. I'm like, oh, well, crap. So he makes a couple of calls just to see if anybody there is available to do any trading. Nobody is. All this happens within about 5 minutes. I said, okay, well, I'll see you. And because I couldn't stay there and he had work to do, so he kind of politely ushers me out. We get out, closes the door behind me. The cabbie is gone. David is gone with my family. And he said he was going to come back and pick me up. I'm like, okay, sounds great. So I am in Bermuda by myself in an abandoned business area where I'm seeing sporadic cars go through. And yeah, I'm just listening to pre-recorded or downloaded podcasts of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, hoping that I'm not going to get stuck in Bermuda because we have to catch that ferry to get back on our ship so we can come home, because it was going to be another, I think, 1 or 2 days, another 2 days to get home. So yeah, hour and a half, I'm sitting at a park bench by myself listening to Conan O'Brien. And meanwhile, Mason, Ashlyn, and Michelle are being directed by David, who, thank God he wasn't a serial killer. He's giving them a tour of this beautiful beach, this amazing sand, gorgeous water, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so, and they come back and come get me, and they're looking at me, and they said, how was it? I said, I've been sitting at this bench for an hour and a half, and they're just kind of cracking up, and I am too. I wasn't upset or anything. Kind of funny, because that kind of crap seems to happen on our trips. So David brings us back. I didn't get to do any trading in Bermuda of any fire station stuff, which was a bummer. Thinking about going online, seeing if I can get access to their shop or whatever. I imagine shipping is going to be a fortune, because those floating Amazon trucks or floating UPS trucks, they do not come cheap. So we get back on the boat. We got 2 days to go back, to get back to New York. We played bingo. That was kind of neat. It was expensive, but it was neat. It was fun. We lost. A little kid won $400. I suppose it was legal for the kid to win $400, since technically this is gambling, because we were in international waters. So we get back to New York. The night before, we set our luggage outside of our room so they can put it, so they'll take it off the boat. We don't have to worry about that. Everybody gets a color, and that color is associated with, number one, what time you get off the boat, and number two, where your crap is being stored when you get off the boat. So we set our color. We got up early enough to go get breakfast, then come back, finish packing our single bag that we left on in our room, and then we left. And leaving the cruise wasn't bad at all. It could have taken, I would assume I would have thought it would have taken longer. It didn't. It was pretty easy. Then we had to catch a cab to LaGuardia. Man, the cabbies were pushy when the boat came in. There's one guy in my face. One guy says, hey, $110 to get you from here to LaGuardia, plus tip and tollways. And I said, plus tip and tollways, $110? Yep. And I said, later. He said, it's fine, it's cool. He was obviously Czechoslovakian, or regular Slovakian, or somewhere from that area of the planet. Got another guy comes up and he says, I can take you there for $75. And I said, yeah? He said, yep. And I said, is that flat? And he said, yes. They're not gonna include the tip in that. So I just assumed it was gonna be $75. And then this other cabbie is getting in my face. He's like a New York cabbie. He's like, look, yellow one, right there. And he's in my face. And I was like, dude, back off. Seriously, no, I'm going with this guy, because that guy was the New York City cabbie guy was super pushy. So I said, get bent. Anyway, we get to his cab, and I was like, whoa. Is this cash or card? And he said, cash only. I said, I'm really sorry, man. I don't have enough cash left. We had been, we were down to our last $40 in cash. But I guess it's a group of cabbies that, or excuse me, probably Uber or something, or Lyft, that work together. So they got me another one right away, and it was still 65 or 75 bucks. Gave him his tip. We were good. Jumped on the plane back. We got to LaGuardia. Our flight didn't leave, I think, until 4 o'clock. No, it was, what was it? I don't know. Late. Maybe noon. And then we had to fly into Chicago, and that one had a 2-hour layover. No, we were supposed to leave at 4 o'clock in the evening, or in the afternoon, from LaGuardia. So we spent like 5 or 6 hours in the airport. We couldn't even check our luggage until noon, because they said no earlier than 4 hours before the flight can you check your luggage in. Like, oh crap, now we got to babysit our luggage. So then after we checked our luggage, got to walk around LaGuardia, which was cool because LaGuardia was very clean. They had Shake Shack, which I had heard of but never tried. Really good burger, delicious. Also, they had their regular little corner stores in there where usually everything is stupid expensive. For example, a 3-pound bag of M&Ms at Sam's Club or Smith's costs you like $6 to $10, right? LaGuardia, it was $25. So I'm looking at this and I said, eee, and I made it obvious that I said, eee. So the cashier's like, oh, check this out over here. These are our expired items over here. Well, the expired, M&Ms expire? I didn't think so. But they do. She said, you're going to have to eat these by the end of October. Like, woman, I will eat them whenever I want, but thank you for selling them to me for $5. I got a 3-pound bag of M&Ms for $5 because they were going to expire. Whoever heard of such a thing? But because of that reason, LaGuardia is my favorite airport ever. So, what else? Fly into Chicago to O'Hare, and we have another 2 or 3 hour layover. Kind of a bummer. Oh, also, this time we flew United, I believe. United's cool. Their planes are nicer. They charge you for luggage, which is still crap, but their planes are nicer, and they give you better snacks. They give you little biscuits, which are cookies. They give you can have your pretzels, you can have a little snack mix like a Chex Mix. They had those little honey waffle things. I don't know if you ever had those, but they are absolutely amazing. They also had in-flight movies, which was cool. I got to watch a movie that I can't remember what I was watching now. So let's sum up in the next video. Bum, bum, bum.